me just start with the basics. What is a child's purpose in life? To go to school, get an education. That's the only thing they're there for. We want to get them educated so they can be productive members of society. So your job as a parent is to make sure that that is happening. The parent who's more aligned with the children's schooling is the one who's really the good parent, because they're aligned with the emotional and the developmental needs of children. And the children get to the point where you can't control them, you can't get them to go to school, and that's of course when they get to be 14, 15, 16, and some kids are, when we're looking at all the statistics of the African American boys, young men should say, who are dropping out of school. And you know, some states like Ohio, it's more than 50%. The graduation rates for African American males in the state of Ohio is less than 50%. That's a tragedy. This is 2012, the 21st century. That's an absolute tragedy. So we've got to have parents whose your job is to get the children to school, to make sure that they are prepared for school, and that they have all the tools and the resources that they need, to make sure the teachers are on point, to make sure the children are comfortable in school, to encourage the children to like school, to like the teacher, to participate in school, and not to see the teachers as villains or people who are not going to help me or don't like me, or this is what you just told that young man that was your client years ago. Go to school, participate, have a positive attitude. And, you know, even though, you know, people may leave their attitudes at the door, when they come to school, people recognize and they're usually willing to acknowledge that this is a brilliant young person and this person has potential. Most people are willing to acknowledge that.
Absolutely. And that will keep them out of the legal system too, honey, because I'm certain that as an attorney who does family law, that it's not out of the question for some parents to come to you and say, look, you know, the law is trying to get me because my child isn't going to school.
Right,
you
and
know,
they will do that. If your child is truant and a certain number of truancies, they'll call the parent into court. And the parents will be cited, and they have fines and fees, and if it's too excessive, they will impose some jail time. So you can get the message. You have a responsibility here to get the kids up and get them to school. And, you know, speaking of one of the other things that Mr. Favors said, you know, young men in jail. Or did you say that, young men in jail?
I know Mr. Favors has worked with young men in jail.
Right. A lot of these young fellas, the most significant opportunity they have to have some education, consistent education, is when they do get to jail. Tragically enough, I've had mothers say, oh, now my son's getting his GED. Well, it's too little too late, but okay, we're glad he's getting it. No, I shouldn't say it that way. We're glad he's getting it, but we wish he had done this when he was out in the community, and he wouldn't be a statistic and a burden on the taxpayers.
You know, one of the things I think of is Malcolm X. Malcolm X went to jail, and that's when he, you know, didn't have nothing to do with read and write. And then he learned and became the great Malcolm X.